Think about a semi-final with Argentina. They need to get past Norway and a certain Erling Haaland first. Let's get an update from the England camp, shall we? And cross to our football correspondent, Rob Dorset. He's in Kansas City. Evening to you, Rob. So set the scene for us then. What are the main issues for both teams in preparation for this big one?
Well, they're both a bit patched up for different reasons, and I'll tell you about that sickness bug inside the Norway camp in just a moment. We'll hear from Ståle Solbakken, their head coach. But let's talk about England first. They've had another day off today, and it's been glorious weather, you have to say, in the Kansas City sunshine. They've had some time with the friends and family to rest and recover. That's what the last 2 days have been all about. Thomas Tuchel telling the players to forget about football and just completely switch off. But when they come back to training, then they will have some reality checks, I think, because there are some injury problems for England. Declan Rice and Bukayo Saka, how are they? They've been patched up, haven't they, throughout this tournament? Had some pain-killing injections, in Rice's case, to get through a lower back problem. Saka with his Achilles problem. Are they going to be fit to go again against Norway in Miami on Saturday? And then there's that right-back issue that we've been talking about incessantly. Don't expect England to appeal against Jarrell Quansah's red card, by the way. I don't think there was any prospect of success with that one, so I think that one's gone away, and so Quansah will be suspended for the Norway game. The right-back alternatives aren't great. Reece James hasn't trained for a fortnight because of that hamstring problem. I do believe England's medics are trying to fast-track him as quickly as possible in the hope that he might be able to play some part in the game, but I think you'd have to say it'd be very unlikely he'll be able to play 90 minutes. Jed Spence has had an injury problem. He didn't look great when he came on late on against Mexico City, and so you see the sort of problems that they've got. It could well be that England are thinking about Ezri Konsa at right-back against Norway, but you lose him and his physicality from the centre to match up against Erling Haaland. So problems for England when they get back into training after these couple of days off, and problems too for Norway. These reports emerged about this stomach bug, this sickness bug that had ripped through the camp. If you listen to Ståle Solbakken, though, the head coach, it sounds like it isn't as serious as some of those reports have suggested.
Nei, det ikke det. Ola har god kontroll på det. Vi har jo egentlig bare hatt Jørgen som har hatt feber, og så har det vært litt hosting og harking jevnt over, spredt fordelt, men det er jo aircondition og fly og bytting og alt dette der. Og så er vi jo over 50 mann, så det ville være rart om det ikke kom et eller annet. Så nå begynner til og med Kenta å få igjen formen, så da bør alle klare det.
So Solbakken playing down those sickness problems, but the interesting bit for me there was he said even the regulars are starting to get back to full fitness now, so everyone should be able to manage it. He's not saying there hasn't been a problem, he's just saying maybe they're over the worst of it. But how much has that impacted on Norway's squad going forward into this big old game with England?
I hope they got their Imodium with them. I'm really interested in the travel plans for this England team, because they went to Mexico early, didn't they? Will it be the same for the Norway game when they go to Miami?
No, it's not. I think we can say with pretty good certainty now that England will fly on match day -1. That's the day before the game, which is what they prefer to do. They like to train here in Kansas City before they fly for any game. But there's a compromise here, because we know that FIFA want them in the venue as early as possible, in the host city as soon as possible. So England will fly early on that day before the game, early on Friday morning, and they will train their final training session in Miami. So a bit of a compromise there, I think, from Thomas Tuchel, and it will give them a chance to try and experience the conditions in Miami before they step onto the pitch for the game itself on the Saturday. Weather forecast at the moment talking about 33 Celsius, bright sunshine, humidity very, very high as well. Remember, England haven't played in hot, tough conditions so far in this World Cup, because it's either been raining or they've been in an air-conditioned stadium. So that's going to affect them an awful lot. The good news for them, though, is Norway don't like it particularly hot either, so it should be a bit of a leveller for both teams.
Rob, thank you very much. England's medics are working hard on Reece James in the hope that he will be available to ease England's right-back crisis when they play Norway in the World Cup quarter-final on Saturday. It's touch and go at the moment whether his hamstring problem will allow him to feature in Miami. But with so few options on the right side of defence, James's treatment is being fast-tracked to try to get him ready. Chelsea captain hasn't trained with the squad since straining his hamstring against Ghana a fortnight ago.
It's longevity for the tournament. If it's going to put you at... It's risk versus reward. If it's like a small risk, you're going to do it. I think muscles are more complicated because you can risk further damage, whereas injections, you can kind of numb the pain. But I do think there's an element of they're wanting to keep the opposition guessing for the team sheet, and there are a lot of games that go on like that in the tournaments where you sort of throw names out there, and because then the team, your opposition you're playing against, can't prepare for a certain lineup, or they don't know who's going to play fullback. Is it Declan Rice? Is it Konsa? Is it James? So, yeah. Well,
just out of interest, who would you put right back if it's not Konsa?
I'd put Trent, but he's not there, right?
That was good. Manchester City duo Mark Guéhi and Nico O'Reilly were the latest to go inside the Lions' den. They're looking forward to what they call a fun battle against their teammate Erling Haaland in that showdown against Norway. So how does it feel to have made the last 8?
Very special, great feeling. But yeah, I think we haven't really got time to be celebrating yet. Yeah, we've got another tough game coming, and yeah, obviously there's still a few more games to be played for the top 8 places, but yeah, every team's going to be tough, and yeah, we need to be ready.
For sure. All right, Saturday, Norway, Miami. How's that game going to be? Your boys up front. Talk to me.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun.
Yeah.
I know he'll be up for it, so it'll be, like Nico said, it'll be a challenge, but be good to see some familiar faces and, you know, try and do our best and try and get away.
Yeah, so O'Reilly and Guéhi looking forward to the challenge. But what's the Norwegian perspective?
Whenever Holland plays for Norway, it's like having a 1-goal handicap advantage from the start, because you know he's going to score. And I don't know if I agree with Carver, who was on here before us, when he said that the English defenders are going to be comfortable because they know Holland and they have experience playing against him in the Premier League. Because most of the defenders that have met Holland in the Premier League also, I think they're traumatized. I think they sometimes have nightmares about meeting him in the Premier League. And I think Holland also know these defenders and that he's comfortable in facing them. So with the form he's on, I just don't see him walking off the pitch without scoring at least one.
And he's been magnificent in this World Cup, and he just loves to play for Norway. It's like he gets an extra energy boost when he gets on that national team shirt. And if we beat England, Norway will lose it, as you've never seen it before. There are sitting people all over the country, rowing like we never seen before. And as I said, to meet England in a quarterfinal, that's the biggest game in Norwegian football history. This is the biggest event in Norway anytime. So we know that most probably we will never be in the quarterfinals again in a World Cup and meet England. So this Saturday, yeah, we're going to lose it. People back home going to lose it. And we hope that Holland will destroy everyone in the England shirt.
Yeah, that Viking row has gone around the world, hasn't it? It's been one of the abiding sights of the World Cup so far. Earlier, we were shown live how it's done.
Woo! 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 And if Norway wins on Saturday, the whole country would lose it like this.
Roy, in all seriousness, what did you make of England's performance?
Oh, excellent. Yeah, it was a brilliant game. A lot of drama, goals, sending-offs, penalties, and England stood up, scored 3 goals. They're obviously disappointed with the couple they conceded from set pieces. But yeah, they were facing huge challenges, even with the delay and with the conditions. But they turned up, especially their star players, Bellingham and Kane. But from an effort from the whole squad was fantastic. Absolutely, you got to give them credit where it's due.
And does it not underline sometimes in sport, not just in football, you know, you can talk tactics and inverted fullbacks and pivots, whatever you want. Sometimes it's just about heart and desire,
of course.
Well, and that's what the last 25 minutes
and that's a huge
about.
part of the game. And maybe that's been... People have questioned England over the years a little bit about that. But they certainly had to show that. They showed their quality. We said before the game it'll be parts of the game where they'll have to survive. Then obviously did a big setback with the sending off. They all rolled their sleeves up. Players came off the bench, done a big job. And towards the end, yeah, they were under huge pressure. But they dealt with it. And now on to the next challenge. But it was certainly a dramatic game.
There goes a play. Did Jude Bellingham go to another level?
Yeah, I think so. I think there's no doubt about now the kid, he's world class. He's, 23 years of age. And obviously the stats in terms of him going forward were absolutely fantastic. The timing, we've seen this many times before. You remember great England midfielders before scores, Gerrard, Lampard, Brian Robson, go back to the day. And the timing. And these are all massive moments, but it's the other stats that I'm also interested, of course. Again, I go back to it. It's what he does out of possession. And these are big, big moments. Yeah, maybe he lost concentration for a second.
That's on the stroke of half-time.
Yeah,
That would have been 2-2.
This is a huge moment for him. So we praise him for his attacking play, and I've been probably focusing a little bit in the last few games what he's been doing out of possession, which has been an amazing. We talk about the modern midfielders as someone a 6 or an 8 or a 10. He's the full package, and he's not at his prime yet. Another 2 or 3 years before we see that.
What's the mood going to be like amongst the England camp now, looking forward to Saturday? How would that result impact training?
Oh, massively, massively, massively. I mean, that was a special game, one of the best England games I've ever seen, if not the best I've ever seen. It had absolutely everything. The confidence now, it'll be a case, I mean, look, they can still be thinking about it today. I think you're well within your rights to enjoy a moment like that, because before the game we were thinking it was going to be a 50-50. Obviously then they can switch their attention towards Norway, but they'll feel now getting into the quarter-finals that, you know, they're starting to get to where we thought they would get to, and I think they'll start to get better. I genuinely do. I think that was massive for them in Mexico the other day.
And I think any team, England must now believe, and who would have a big result like that, must get that belief that they can win it now. Yeah. They should have that feeling.
Well, it did have that kind of game where everything what was happening, everything what happened the night before with the fireworks, the leading in, even before that, where the game was going to be moved, and then the pressure of so-called Mexico's record there. And so to go into that game and then to win it like we did, with losing a man, you know, scoring the goals, them scoring, and then finishing that game off, it's the kind of game that makes you go to that place where you think, yeah, that brings you together. It's that kind that brings you together. And the way they done that, it was one of the best games I've watched because it had everything in it. It was one of those that's what I thought. The next day, I thought I earned the right to feel like I did about how happy I was.
Played, yeah.
I earned my right.
You say that, but I saw you were sleeping in Soho House over there. It was like that.
I earned the right to feel how I felt because it was one of those games where it's what the World Cup gives you. It gave you everything.
I know it doesn't mean anything, but I think it's worth remarking that every England fan said that when they came out the ground, the Mexican fans were fantastic with them.
Oh, that's good.
Clapped them on the shoulder, said, well played, and then they said, hope you beat Argentina.
Yes.
But it was great to see that they said, brilliant match, you won it.
Yeah.
And I think that was great to read.
That's the spirit it should be.
And England fans have had so many knockbacks over the last 20, 30, 40, 50 years going out of tournaments. I mean, that would have been I can't imagine what it would have been like for an England fan in that stadium.
Absolutely brilliant.
But first, World Cup holders Argentina produced one of the most dramatic comebacks in the tournament's history as they came from 2 goals down to beat Egypt 3-2 and reach the quarter-finals. It's the latest that any team has ever been 2 goals down in a World Cup game and come back to win without the tie going to extra time. It means the reigning champions are still on course for a possible semi-final with England, and Lionel Messi's World Cup career has at least one more chapter. Yeah, great scenes there. This was Messi's reaction. Honestly, he said, I'm just so happy we made it through and about the way we did it. Things got tough at 2-0, so it was incredibly exciting to turn it around once again. We suffered a lot, but that's the World Cup for you. Every match is playing out the same way. Everything is so evenly matched. So, yeah, I'm really happy. Yes, I think it was a relief for everyone given how the match played out, because coming back from 2-0 down isn't easy. But as always, this group never gives up and keeps trying until the very end. Well, Messi's latest goal puts him top of the World Cup Golden Boot standings. It's his 8th of the tournament, and he's leading Kylian Mbappe, Erling Haaland and England's very own Harry Kane. There's also a host of records that fell in that game as well. At the 78th minute is the latest a team in World Cup history has ever won after being 2 goals down. Messi becomes the first player in World Cup history to score in 6 straight knockout games. His 8th goal is the most by a player after 5 games since Germany's Gerd Müller in 1970. And not all of the stats are positive, because Messi is also the first player to miss 2 penalties at a single edition of the World Cup. Well, over in Buenos Aires, there was these celebrations for the winner. My goodness me. And it seems as though quite a few prayers were answered.
No, me quería poner a llorar, tipo, lo sufrí mal, hasta último momento estuve sufriendo. No sabía si reírme, si llorar ya. El primer gol lo lloré, el segundo me largué a llorar más, el tercero no podía ni creerlo. Pero viste, es eso, que nosotros estamos acostumbrados a sufrir.